All right, we've got a VOD review for Sky, and it looks like Sky is in a trio in comp. It's like a low diamond, high plat.
DPS, nice. Okay, I guess he's not gonna play Ryan then. So, oh no, okay, Orisa.
I kind of briefly looked over this earlier. Just back it up a little bit so I can see what the team comp is. Oh, he does it so fast. I'll just do it later. Not everybody is picked yet, anyways.
I'm gonna turn music off for this.
They were playing Ana and Lucio.
Probably gonna lose.
Oh, feels bad.
Alright, here we go. So the only issue with this this team comp is that your healers, which is Sky, you, and Lucio, you guys have to really communicate with the rest of your team right here, and not just to your own teammates. That they are either too far or not within healing range, because you're going to be playing far as Ana, and then Lucio really is the only main source of steady heals in a group setting. So if they are, for whatever reason, not within range, you basically have to communicate that immediately. Now this, I think this entire video, as we'll see in a little bit, that the communication is really just to your team in Discord or in team chat. No, I think you guys are in, what's it called, in team chat, but I don't think you actually talk in game. So that's going to be a little bit of an issue, I think. There's a disconnect right there.
Well, I don't know. Is really my real rank?
This is good positioning for Ana.
No, if you throw, it's probably not.
I think it balances out.
Our duo queue.
So like the only real people that you really have to kind of worry about is going to be like Doom and D.Va. They just need to be able to come back to the team for heals. And I think right here, unfortunately, Doom just gets slept, and so he dies first.
I got slept somehow. Like, okay.
So here you would like need to communicate with your Hanzo that he needs to get back to the team or something, because now like half this team right over here, as long as you communicate, like you don't have healing range, you barely have healing range on your Hanzo, and then right here you can't heal that, so you would just have to make sure you communicate that they are not in the healing eyesight, and so that either Lucio can speed boost your D.Va back out, or they could just play a little bit more reserved. Honestly here, you're Lucio, and because you're not using your team chat, but I think it's really important communication is for you to tell. I'm just gonna say you assume, like, actually, like, your entire team should be communicating this, but for this video's sake, I'll just say you should communicate to your Lucio to taxi your Doomfist back. I mean, luckily the other team hasn't pushed in, and I don't really know why they haven't pushed in, considering they had got that pick, and so they were up like 6v5.
Oh, they're hurting.
So here,
They're hurting.
everybody should have, like, should know this is happening, but there was zero communication about the fact that they are coming in from the left side.
They're going all the way to me? No, they're going all the way to me. Nice.
Ooh, right on me.
So again, like, half of your team isn't really in line of sight, so you really have to communicate that.
I'm lower on point in the bad spot.
So again, right here, you basically have maybe one. I would argue like half of one, because your wrist is kind of in and out of this pillar, and nobody else is within your eyesight unless you like throw your nade and just kind of pray that it kind of hits all of them. You need to communicate to them that they are not within eyesight.
Yo, Uma, I'm popping off.
And this Lucio needs to just assist your squishies instead of going for the hits and the DPS.
Fuck.
I couldn't heal you fast enough.
Yeah, I was still on cooldown. I thought I had my escape up.
They're going fire. They're going right. They're going right. They're going right.
Good job trying to keep your Orisa. Honestly, your two tanks should have been next to each other. Your D.Va,
Oh my god.
that was really unfortunate.
Wow, that's
Yeah, so your D.Va, I'll just go back a little bit. Your D.Va here needs to be playing with your Orisa, especially when they're all coming in. Go back a lot more, actually, I guess. Let's just see. So your D.Va's playing over here on the right. Your tanks are split up. If they had just played a little bit closer together, they would have made a bigger impact, because then now they just split up your tanks, and then your tanks are basically, you can't heal both of them separately, and I don't think your like Lucio really knows what to do either, so you would just have to communicate that your two tanks need to stick together. That's like the thing with playing support, is that unfortunately you, as playing support, you would be like the team caller, so you would make sure you call for like the resets or the grouping of the team and who is not within the line sight. So here, I'm glad you recognize that like with this much left, you guys would just have to give it up. But I don't think you communicated that either, so like half of your team is not, well, yeah, let's just say half of your team, right? Like your Doom and your Lucio are trying to contest. Really, I don't know why Lucio thinks he can contest. Like there's basically, assume there's going to be 6 people there with 3 pushed up and 3 standing on the point. These 2 are just going in for suicide, and your Orisa basically right now is just feeding. So you like can see this. You have clear vision that what is happening, especially with like you can see like how much stuff, and you know that they're basically about to take it. You just need a call for a whole team to just stand on the second point. Because you guys are doing this now and you're not calling it, this actually cost the team like 2 players, and you guys just fed so much to the enemy ult, so now they're basically ready for the next fight.
Yeah, but I've also got 4 deaths. 6 kills, 4 deaths is not good enough.
that's fair.
I also noticed something here too, and I don't think too many Ana players or too many support players at this level really understand that they need to be pressing tab a lot more. And the reason why you want to press tab is not just to look at your own team's ults. Like it's really good that you should really be pressing tab to look at your own team's ults, because you, especially when you have like nano, you can kind of combo with somebody as well. So not only would you be looking at your team's percentage of ults, but you got to see like who the other team, the enemy team, is playing. I'm gonna see if you do oh, there it is. But you do it so fast, so I don't actually think you're like, I don't know what you're, oh my gosh, let's just see if I can. Oh, so close. Oh my gosh. You press it so fast. What is the point? I'm assuming you're looking to see like your medals maybe? Oh, okay, here we go. So you would be able to time your nano with somebody over here, and you know what, like the only person you really could nano at this point would be Orisa. And then like for the enemy team, what you want to track is if you were keeping track of what ults they've used, you can kind of gauge by your own team's ult percentage of what the enemy ult percentages could technically be. So then you can warn your team like what ults are about to happen, or what else you think might be happening soon. And then also like your team kind of you can help the team out by identifying who the enemy team is kind of using as their carry, and you would make a suggestion, right, for your own teammates to switch to something. So at this point, like I don't think you actually know what the enemy team is really playing unless you kind of see them up close in person. So right now they're running 3 tanks, and nobody has really called that out at all from your team, and nobody's actually made a switch to adjust to that, with 3 tanks, your Mei, let's just say, honestly, Mei or Hanzo could probably switch off. Somebody needs to switch off to Reaper. Or either Reaper or Brigitte would work against this team comp right here. But nobody's made that call out, and nobody's been pressing tab to make that identification. And I think that's what's keeping their team kind of like at a steamroll. Or not steamroll, they're like sustaining because they've got a lot of health right now, and with Ana as their healer as well. They're kind of just like sustaining a lot longer than your guys' team is right now. So make sure you press tab more often so you can kind of detect that earlier. The faster you can detect, like, I don't know if they were running 3 tanks this entire time because you haven't pressed tab until they hit the second point, and even then you're pressing tab so fast, I think, just to look at maybe like your gold healing done maybe. But like, make sure you press tab so you can see and identify that they're running 3 tanks and somebody needs to switch off, basically.
F you guys, holy god.
Damn it. Nice shot, Hanzo.
I antied one, Anna?
Really good. See, I like that communication where you're calling out who you antied and who that one person is, so your team can actually go for it. It wasn't in team chat though. I think it was in Discord chat, but it would be good if you just communicated that to the entire team.
Are they switching? What's going on?
And they're just taking time.
I have Nano. Booma, do you want it?
I mean, not really. I can't do a whole lot with it, but
So in this next team fight, I really hope you kind of nano someone at this point as they're coming in. This Hanzo, so you guys probably should have like just told him that he's in too far, especially when half of their team was kind of up on the bridge already and he's just kind of in the back. That's really, there's no way that any of the healers could have healed him. He's just kind of feeding.
I gotta play far left, I think.
give it to Guff. Nano Diva's always fun.
Yeah, so like your Hanzo right here is just screwed.
Ooh.
That probably would have been a really good sleep opportunity, actually, because I don't know if you guys, if you notice, but his voice line comes first before his hammer down comes down, and it's basically in slow-mo when his hammer comes down, and that would have been like, you had the perfect line of sight to have him do like a sleep dart right here. It kind of saves like your team a little bit, even though like he's only really shattering one person, but that still is beneficial.
Oh, this Ryan's weak. He's just getting pocketed. F.
Really good cleanup here.
What the fuck music am I listening to?
I know you're not playing Lucio, but just like as an FYI, this is a really great map for stalling on Lucio too with these pillars, especially if the team is like, when they're playing like Reinhardt or something, and their team is just kind of like slowly walking past this bridge. When if Lucio can like play these pillars, ride these pillars, he can actually confuse the team so much that when he goes in and out, he can boop them off the bridge, and so like their Rhine goes down is probably like the main one that will go down. And he has to walk either all the way up here, all the way around, or he would have to walk through the tunnel, and half of his team is already separated by then. It gives you guys so much of an advantage.
I got 4 kills with the blizzard.
I need
So right here, your team is separated again. Half of your team is not within line of sight, so make sure you communicate that. By now, their team should be regrouped and should be coming up shortly. Either have your Lucio tell your Lucio to speed boost your team back in, or just tell the team to come back to the point a little bit to play safe.
When is the plan to become a coach?
Thanks, Steve, for all the feed. Doesn't even
Yeah,
see
you
me.
okay there right now? Fuck, I can.
Oh, you gotta bring him.
So whoever is your May really needs to be careful, because if you had called out the regroup a little bit faster, they basically have 6 people all aiming for her, and she chose the route that was the hardest to get to. Like, she really should have just gone in here. I think she was trying to go down here. But if she can play in the tunnels or go into the tunnels a little bit more, then she can use the walls as like an escape plan faster. Instead, she went down below, and the team can. That's a shorter route for the enemy team to get to.
Steve, for all the feed. Doesn't even
Yeah,
see
you
me.
okay there right now? Fuck, I can.
I'm throwing.
You
Oh,
are.
you gotta bring him. Bridge. We're on a brig now.
So that would have been, as I was saying earlier, like if Lucio instead, I think Lucio's just playing up this pillar for whatever reason that's not helping the team whatsoever. He's just trying to get like ult charge, I'm assuming, by just like spamming his primary weapon. But like this team is running kind of like, I think they're still running. They're running D.Va, Hog, and Rein. But they're slowly, like, Hog and Ryan are the only ones who really have to, like, slowly walk past this bridge. If he had just played these pillars a little bit, he could have just booped them off, and then, like, half of their team would have been screwed.
Bridge. We're on a brig now.
So right here, too, this Hog got you, but I've heard 0 peel, like, you haven't asked for any peels at all. Honestly, you haven't really been you haven't been getting attacked anyways, so you probably, that's why you haven't asked for peels. But as soon as that Hog appears right there in front of you, right here, you need to call out that there's a Hog near spawn on you, and you would say like on Ana, so somebody would recognize who that person is. They can turn around and get you, or at least like D.Va. It would be D.Va's job, honestly, to come back and help you out. There's really nothing, unless you sleep the Hog, there's really nothing you can do if you don't really have any help. But your D.Va can come back and at least body block some of those shots against you. I think you sleep Hog right here, which is good, but you didn't call it out quick enough. So right now, yeah, so you slept him, but it was a little too late. Because what you don't understand, or maybe you do understand, but since you're the primary healer, it is so essential that you and your Lucio stay alive for the team. Like, it's fine that your team goes down, but like, or at least some, like you have like one casualty. It's even more important for you and your Lucio to be the ones to stay alive.
I thought you were gonna wall the Ren up for the big brain place. Okay, you ready to go out?
So here, I'll just look at this real quick. So they've got basically, I don't know if they got, it says they have 5 on point. I think they actually really have 6, because maybe, well, maybe somebody died, or maybe somebody's in the tunnel, but, and your entire team is gone. You haven't really pressed tab yet, so I don't really know where your team's ults are at. You're at 88%, but with what your team comp is playing, your nano doesn't really benefit the team at this point. At right now, they've got 5 people, and they're gonna cap this so fast if you don't switch off of Ana. I know it's like really tempting to stay on Ana because you've got like 90% ult, but you really have to switch to something like a Moira, especially since you already have a Lucio. You just need to get to point faster to stall. That's what your team's main objective is right now, because they basically have everyone on point. Nobody's made any, well, your D.Va made a switch, but this switching between Wrecking Ball and Diva isn't too big of a difference because they both can get to the point faster. Wrecking Ball might have a little bit more sustainability, but other than that, like, people need to switch to stall heroes at this point. Because if you can stall and somebody gets one pick, that already benefits your team. But now you guys are staggering in, and you're still waiting for your nano to come in. This Lucio also needs to just start wall riding a little bit more instead of playing on the ground, because they're basically playing all ground heroes except for their Diva. So let's just go back a little bit here. They're inside of this this little pillar here right now, but he needs to be riding this wall right here, or he needs to be on the other side because there's pillars right here, bounce in and out of the pillars so that he still touches point a little bit.
Back, I think, soon.
Winnable. We just gotta get 8 kills.
So now you guys are just staggering,
We'll be able to touch again. Oh, you touch.
and you're still waiting to use your nano, but by the time you even get there and you have your nano, like, nobody really is there. And like, you know, nanoing the Mei, but honestly, what is that gonna do? Nanoing anybody at this point, it really doesn't help the team. Isn't like maybe a chance of like maybe getting one pick, but still, you guys are still staggering in. If you guys just played stall heroes, then you can get the team there faster, and you guys would have more people on the point.
Dive the last 2 weeks in the Masters teams.
What?
I'm just reading this post-game chat. Scorch has that subtle BM, like, just reminding you that we're better than you.
Why'd they do that? Because they ran the comps, everybody runs, and Nova kicked their ass on some sweet, crazy meta comps we've never seen.
No, I'm just reading that. Ooh, we need some decent scrims. We've been playing Masters teams.
Oh. Ugh, I hate that they are like that sometimes.
I did it. Don't worry about it. Took one for the team.
You did what? Oh.
Are you playing Ana? If you got silver damage, it's like nobody's doing anything.
Let's see what your team is playing right now.
Yeah, I got.
Man, you really do it so fast. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like you're running half dive. I'm assuming black guys. How do you even? Okay, he's probably gonna play Lucio. I'm assuming because that's what he played last time. But then you guys are playing kind of a half dive, and the reason why this might not work is, well, both of your dive tanks are in actually the Discord chat you guys are in, so that's a little bit of hope. But to play dive, you guys really need to use team comps, because the whole point of playing dive, these two don't make a big impact unless you have a third or fourth. Third and fourth person to come dive with you. So even though these two might be communicating where they're diving, you're basically two diving into like assume you're diving into like a 6 stack or even like a 5 stack. Like, these two are not going to survive very long. So you really need to make sure if you're going to dive, you have somebody else dive with you. So that's why team comps is so essential.
I got gold healing. It's like no one's doing anything, dude. DPS, what are you doing?
DPS, like, you can get on it, bro.
Yeah, Boomer.
DPS if you don't have it, that's so weird.
Also, playing Ana in a dive is also kind of risky as well, because your dive tanks are gonna dive into a place, and you may or may not be able to reach them within line of sight. So if you're going to play Ana in a dive situation, you really have to just tell your team that they have to understand that after they dive, if they are down like even half of their health, they have to come back towards you. Otherwise, the dive is just not going to work.
I hit Monkey once, but I hit you once, yeah.
So here, actually, I just noticed you guys, your monkey dived in first. There really should be communication between your monkey and your diva of who they're gonna end up diving. And I think monkey just goes for this dive right here. I can't even, he's back here now, but monkey and diva needs to communicate where they're diving first, and they would need to count it down because they need to make sure they dive in together and not just together, but they land at the same place together. So ideally, like monkey or diva calls out the countdown, and it could be really quick even. But diva needs to be the one to dive in first, because it takes diva much longer to get to point B from point A. Much slower than Winston does, because Winston can just jump and he'll be right there. Diva takes a little bit to like actually get over there, so make sure you tell your teammates if they're doing dive that they communicate that dive better. And right now their team, the rest of your team is behind you, right? Like you're in the middle. You got, I don't know if Sombra already went up or not, but there's zero communication within the team. So like picking a dive comp is really not going to work. You guys probably should have picked like a death ball comp. So yeah, you guys basically had 2 diving into a team of 4 or 5. That's going to be like suicide.
He was like one away from max.
Fuck. Apparently you and I gotta get this a little bit
The difference between diamond and below, well, diamond and below versus like gold, or not gold, masters and up, is just communication mostly. Like the team comps need to change. Now that's really good that that they counted down. I think it was Cannon or the Winston that was counting down. As soon as he's 2, when he was counting down like 3, 2, Diva needed to go in first at 2 and then Winston at 2, after 2, because then they would reach the same area at the same time.
Lucio, kill Lucio beside you.
Watch out, nuke.
So they're like here, you need to tell your diva to come out, because there's no way you can heal him. And at that point, like diva probably knows in the back of their head that you can't heal him, but sometimes your teammates are very tunnel vision and they won't remember that kind of stuff. So you just have to remind them that they're not within like sights. So he needs to come out.
She's fortified.
I healed you twice.
I'm split up from you. I'm trying to get
So they're like, your diva's escape plan was to go this way, right? Probably because there was somebody shooting down at him. But if you'd communicated for them to come out back to where they were, or tell them to go for this, whoever was up here, I think it might be a Doomfist or something up here, but you can tell them that you antied them. Diva would have survived if she had just flew up there, because she would have gotten the heals up there, and then like whoever's up there would have just died immediately.
I'm fighting the healers and Diva up top.
Yeah, meeting is
So you guys are super spread out, and as Ana, that's a really difficult job to have to heal everyone.
I'm so close to one though.
So your Lucio was running, is now running a Zen.
Got it. No, like it's
Really good focusing right here on that diva.
one-ish.
I really like that you're utilizing this wall right here too against this widow, knowing that there's a widow. That's really smart.
Just fight on point. Cap it.
from back point.
This was also pretty impressive. That Tracer should have gone for that health pack first, and then you would have been screwed, but because you were able to grab that health
I
pack.
was fighting a Tracer 1v1 and I killed her, as I know.
I'm not blaming you. I was on point for a good like 20 seconds solo.
It's really surprising that the enemy team decided to go for, because they had like what? Let's go back here a little bit. They had 4 people.
Come on.
Let's see. Yeah, there's like 4 people on that side with 2, and then you like on. So like really the only people keeping these two up is you, it's surprising that the 4 of the enemy team are still just on this Rhine. Like, they're picking the wrong target. They really should have just gone for you first, and then everybody else will just fall after.
Oh, Widow killed me.
So here, you guys have time to spare, honestly, within a minute 45. You just died, and I think you did say, like, Widow killed me, but again, that was, like, in Discord chat, and then, you probably should have said something in team chat, and you would just say, like, you guys are running one healer right now, please play, like, really reserved, because Zen is, at this point, like, the only healer that's up. So now your team is kind of staggering a little bit.
There's 1F me, dude.
Yeah, your team is definitely, like, not all together.
Sorry.
Watch your shatter. Yep.
This Widow keeps just getting pocketed by the Lucio. I can't finish her. So annoying.
So their team is doing a really good job of staggering you guys, because you guys are not regrouping, and as the healer, you really need to call out for the team to just reset, because you guys had time. Now, because you guys are staggering, so then now, like, it's just dwindling on your time. Let me just go back to see, like, at what point you probably should have called for that reset.
Watch your shatter. Yep.
Widow keeps just getting pocketed by the Lucio.
So, like, right here, I probably would start calling it
I can't.
for a reset. You guys have, like, a little bit under a minute and 30. You can fit 2 team fights in there if you guys had just reset quickly as a team. Instead, like, you guys, these 2 stayed there, and now they're, like, staggered by a lot. Your team is just respawning now. Whoever that anybody right here, let's go back here, everybody right here needs to fall back, because now you're just feeding their ults. They're gonna get ready for this whatever last push you guys have, but you guys are basically feeding the ults, and you know this because you're standing back here, not within the line of sight of the enemy team. You need to be the one to call it out. So now, like, your Hanzo gets picked, your Hambin is feeding. Everybody needs to just regroup. You guys have literally have 1 fight left now.
I'm back.
I'm stuck.
Oh shit. I didn't expect it.
Now you have to switch. You have no choice but to switch to Moira or Lucio, just to get the point faster. But you're gonna and you just used your nano, so there's really no reason to stay on Ana.
Nade coming point maybe?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, with your entire team right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're missing 1, or is it? Yeah, I think you might be missing 1, 2, 3, 4. You should probably needed to go just Lucio, just to keep, like, the momentum going and get there faster, because now you're just, like, kind of strolling in. 1, 2. They have, yeah, you guys have 5.
Winnable, I killed Ana.
So luckily, you guys are actually doing really good. But if you had switched a little bit early, you guys probably could have gotten that much faster. Like, right now, you guys are kind of fighting for time.
I threw a nade to try and kill him,
You guys probably should have switched if you identified the correct compositions to switch to. You guys could have capped a lot faster.
Ryan's about to blow up. You want to jump him up in the air?
Yeah, if you give me a heads up. I got 5 seconds so I can do it.
Alright, I'm at 80 right now, so it's gonna be a second anyway. I'm just checking.
So still, you haven't pressed tab still, so I don't know, unless you, like,
Not fun really.
you really should press tab so you can figure out who is who you're gonna need to nano next, like comboing with other people's ults.
Gonna throw it behind him.
Here, like, a team reset should have been called as well. Let's see.
Alright, I'm at 80 right now, so it's gonna be a second anyway. I'm just
Like as soon as 2 people kind of go down, that's 1.
Oh wow, yeah, it's not fun running there.
That's 2. Both of your tanks are down. This is a hard reset right here. So you would tell the team to reset, to regroup. You guys have so much time. Like you have the time to afford to reset. This guy here needs to fall back. Your Hanzo needs to fall back. Your Hanzo has a habit of just poking out a little bit too much. You need to call for your team to run back immediately. And for you, I wouldn't even risk standing right here. I would just start running back. These people need to either run back or they just need to die right now.
Okay, I'm at 90.
Like there's really no reason to be feeding right now.
So I can pin
So your Hanzo's screwed. He's basically dead. Your Zen is feeding.
my 3rd main tank of the match. But DPS don't flex.
McCree's half right in front of point. McCree's on the left side, by the way. I don't know if you're running to point.
Good call out on where McCree is so your Tracer can get him.
Alright, here it is. Oh well. Big,
Sorry, we
good.
got 2. We got 2. Scattered them enough. Get
Honest
Nana.
no sleep?
Get Nana. Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
McCree, whenever you touch it.
So you know that Diva was on the Zen. You should really call that out so your team can help out your Zen. It's not your job to peel for Zen. It's your job to watch out for your Zen, but to look after your Zen with his best interest. So this is another hard reset. You should be calling this out. So your Diva, you would just need to tell your Diva to die immediately because right now there's no way.
Shield forehead. Oh, I almost slept.
Oh, that was almost so good.
I mean, yeah, I'll shield all 6 people at the same time when y'all aren't talking or telling me where you are or
Yeah.
what you need. That makes perfect sense. I'm
Should've
psychic.
known he was close
Yes.
to Transcendence. Because it would have totally saved from the shit behind
Because you guys are taking so long to reset, your guys' time basically died down like a whole minute before you guys actually get a full group in.
Oh, I woke her up, my bad.
That's fine. I don't care. It's weird losing this anyways. Oh, maybe not. Well, they have better-
So you haven't really pressed tab again. You're trying to just figure out what the other team is playing. So they have, oh, here we go.
I'm almost back.
Okay. So let's see, based off of this, you guys have almost, what does that say, a minute something. Zen honestly probably should be switching off after he needs to use trans immediately, because there's nothing in this lineup here that is beneficial to have a Zen. There's no reason to have a to use trans. Nothing really is gonna block do damage do damage enough for Zen to use trans. So he probably needs to switch off. I wouldn't have him switch off to Lucio so he can just get the team there faster, because it sounds like you guys reset way too late, so you guys are killing a lot of time. So with a Lucio to boost the team to speed boost the team in, it would save the team a little bit more time.
I almost have no.
So I would make that suggestion if you just pay attention to the other team comp a little bit more.
But you get off my ass at least as well.
I've slept there a few times, but
Yeah. I mean, it's not your
nothing I can do really besides that. I can't heal you there, Diva.
I got you.
Good call out that you can't heal Diva. Diva knew and flew in. That's a really good.
Too big.
That's 2 pick. That's 2
Let's
picks.
do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
go.
Aaron, nano you, Ryan.
Thanks.
I'm about to die. Ooh, thank you.
Fuck you, Anna.
Really good. I think you guys need to be calling out that Tracer in the back there unless she died.
You're anti. Oh fuck. Medusa one dead.
Are you kidding me? Nice picks.
So you guys are starting to kind of call out some targets. Definitely need to have more targets being called. That would probably be on your divas. job to kind of call out which targets to get, because as soon as you guys call out targets and you guys focus on some targets, it takes down the team a lot faster.
Sending it to someone who's applying, yeah, for an application, because I asked people and nobody sent me one, so I'm just gonna create my own, dude.
I hope he goes that candidate is thrown.
Yeah, dude.
Cause I kinda am. That'll be our measurements, dude.
Let's see what you guys are running. I really hope this is not what you guys are running, though. Oh my gosh, so fast away. I'm really curious to know what is your reason for pressing tab when you do press tab.
I'm trying to find a VOD, but we're just gonna do this one.
So your team has a sim. I'm hoping that doesn't stay
I'm pretty sure.
on attack.
He's the Widow player for Simpsons.
I think he is. I'm not 100% sure.
Now, if you guys can get this to work with a sim,
Maybe I'm wrong.
like, probably like really good use of teleports. Here we go. Yeah, you guys are gonna lack a little bit of damage here.
I thought Brox was the Widow player.
With a minute left, I don't know how much time they have. Lucio needs to switch to honestly, both of you guys need to switch. Zen would be Lucio, and ideally you would play Moira, because you guys just need it at this point. With 1 minute left, you guys just have to get to point the fastest you can possibly get.
Yeah, Brox is the Widow player. Yeah. He is on 7 Sims though.
No, he is for sure. It's definitely 7 Sins. 7 Sins with 2 applicants.
Wait, he went from Ascender's reigning champion to Masters? So he went from what? Gold to Masters in however long it was?
What do you mean? Ascender's reigning champion? You can be under Masters.
I thought Ascender's was gold and under.
Oh no, Ascenders is under Masters. Just no other.
I don't know why he's playing sim though.
This guy
Oh,
wants to play Sim.
this is perfect. So, I know this isn't like, this is more just knowledge sharing. But the enemy threw an orb, a damage orb in. I'm gonna tell you exactly why. That's a big no-no for the enemy team. Because this damage orb doesn't really kill anybody, right? Like, it might be charging, the only thing beneficial is that it's charging their ult a little bit, but healing in general does charges ult a lot faster than damage does, and so right now he's shedding maybe 5% after this orb hits everyone, 5% of ult charge, but this orb actually benefits your team so much more than that Moira just did, because now both you and Zen can heal up your team, and that will give you more percentage than theirs is. So like, look, you have 10%, and I guarantee you their Moira only has like 5%, and then assume like your Zen also just got another like 5% too. So like that Moira just threw that thing 5% ult charge for her. You guys got at least 5% each on your guys' part, so that's why.
He said he's gonna TP us to point. I'm fucking waiting for it.
I don't even have my interact key bound. I emoted instead of interact because I didn't have it bound. I thought I had it bound actually.
We're all purple.
I forgot this was the only count. Oh my god. Okay, I threw. That's garbage.
I mean, we're all purple.
I forgot this was the only count. Oh my god. Count. Oh my god. This was the only count. Oh my god. Okay, I threw.
We're all purple.
I forgot this was. I emoted instead of interact because my interact key bound.
He said he's gonna TP us to point. I'm fucking waiting for it.
I don't even have my interact key bound. I emoted.
Oh.
I emoted instead of interact because I didn't have it bound.
That's so unfortunate. So if you had played Moira too, even if you like, let's say you played Moira, right? Even if you didn't use this correctly, you could have faded in this way and then you still would have been able to throw an orb out to save your team. But instead, because you like emoted, you kind of got screwed. But even if you didn't and you pressed the right button to use the teleporter, like you're in such a deep situation right now. Like it's really hard to heal everyone unless you like throw your nade out. It's just a lot better to use your Moira.
I thought I had it bound actually. I forgot this was the only count. Oh my god. Okay, I threw. That's garbage.
I mean,
So right now, you probably should switch anyways, because you've got like 20 seconds. Now your team is dead.
Diva? Guff, I got you.
Good use of this pillar here.
Hog fall off, he did literally no damage to me when he's right clicking.
This is good on your Diva's part to wait. He probably could have jumped down, but he did the smart thing of just waiting to get healed up and then also waiting for your team. So right now, like, you guys really needed some stall hero supports.
Soldier killed me, soldier
Man,
killed me.
I'm barely holding on to this. Thank you. Damn it, there it is.
Oh, you guys are doing... I cannot believe you guys are actually, like, getting that tick.
Huge fire strike.
Really good. This Tracer is... Oh, I was gonna say this Tracer's doing pretty good, just staying up.
we got a tick.
So, like, I think it's incredible that you, like, Zen and you both didn't end up switching. Like, you guys really needed to get there quick.
Yeah, that's her big appeal.
Yeah, that's one thing I feel like I don't do enough that I could definitely do to like make my diva play better is just take advantage of high ground more often. Even in that last fight, I got to just sit up top there. They didn't have anybody else that could come up there, and then Sky just healed me up, so that was nice.
Yeah, dude, you were literally 1 HP.
Yeah, I had like no health.
I'm surprised nobody killed you.
Well, it was fun. Yeah, nobody could get up there. It was awesome. And then I don't think their diva is like not very situationally aware. Like she just kind of flipped to the other side and walked away, and I was like, okay, cool. Goodbye.
You know, it's amazing
Who's
how much
Guff?
value you can
Guff's
get just by
just a player who
not
plays in.
how much value you
Guff's-
can- you know, it's amazing
Who's
how much
Guff?
value you can
Guff's
get just by
just a player who
not
plays in the
shooting,
league.
not doing anything,
That
just so they
Boom and
don't
I coach
see
him.
you.
Yep. Pretty much. Alright, so 2.5 minutes and they can't get 1/3. This will be good.
Is that May's name supposed to be a play on Gordon Ramsay?
Go. Don
Ramusi?
Ramuse. Go Don Ramuse? I don't know. If
Could
it is,
be.
it's nice.
Oh, they fall salty.
Ooh, they're going straight to point.
This comp is a little weird. This comp is a little weird because you guys are playing 2 dive tanks and then nobody else is really dive. So, like,
They're almost down.
your tanks just need to communicate where they're going, or at least dive into whatever your teammates are actually running.
Trying to get the brig down.
So right now you guys are just
Damn. It's a nice
I honestly think like the Pharah and the Mercy probably could have held on a little longer. I don't know why they died so fast. So like, how much time did they have? Oh, they had a lot of time. I would probably not play Winston Diva, honestly, in this situation. The only, like, I would play Winston Diva only if there wasn't really a Pharah, because you just have to assume your Mercy is not healing you. That Mercy is gonna be tied to that Pharah for the most part, so they're just really relying on you, and like you have a ton of people to heal. You guys want to go for sustainability, so like maybe a Ryan or Orisa and a Hog, because Hog can heal himself. But you guys kind of screwed yourselves over with like the team comps that you guys were running this entire match. Yeah. So that's unfortunate, but I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions.